Here. Ms. Call.
Here.
Mr. Slattery.
Here.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Here.
Mr. Neal.
Here. Can everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is comments from visitors. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to school-related topics will be permitted at each meeting. Each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium and state his/her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until a total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to have the opportunity to do so have had the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Anyone? Okay, no one. Next item is, one second. Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education recess into an executive session pursuant to RC 121.22G for the purpose of conducting or reviewing the negotiations of collective bargaining agreements. Upon conclusion of this executive session, the board president shall gavel the board back into open session at this location. All matters discussed in this executive session are designed to the public officials and employees as confidential pursuant to RC 102.03B. Because of the status of the proceedings and or the circumstances under which the information will be received, and preserving its confidentiality is necessary to the proper conduct of government business. Mr. Scott, can you call the roll, please? Can I have a motion, please?
So
Have a second. Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Slattery.
yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Zinger.
Yes.
Ms. Call.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
board meeting, and we are in the thick of end-of-the-year activities. We're busy with award ceremonies and field days and lots of different things. Our 8th graders go to Washington DC this week. We have our 5th graders and 6th graders going to Greenfield Village this Friday, so very excited for all the end-of-the-year activities. My report this evening, Mr. Neal, Board of Education, is introduction of our new administrators for the district. Talk a little bit about the process. So Mr. Larson, with Mr. Hare's departure.
That's cool, isn't it? Isn't it cool? It's cool.
You guys are on TV.
I love a family photo. It's awesome, buddy.
Mr. Larson was the perfect fit to take over the role of principal at the high school. He's done an amazing job over the last 3 years. He's built relationships with our staff, with our students, with our families, with board members, and I think Matt absolutely deserves this leadership opportunity. He has my 100% support as we go through this, and we were in a meeting the other day and I said, welcome to the club. So I'm very excited for Matt and this opportunity for our high school. I want to introduce Marcello DeAngelis. Marcello comes to us from Parma City Schools. Long-time intervention specialist at a few different levels. There's his family. I want to welcome them to the Hurricane family. Marcello brings a sense of pride and enthusiasm that I have not seen in a while from candidates, and so we are absolutely thrilled that he's coming on board with us. Marcello was also a former varsity football coach, head coach at Valley Forge. So Marcello, I hope you did not give one of our board members too much grief.
No, I never.
Okay, good.
Especially him, I know better.
So very excited for Marcello to be part of our pre-K through 7 staff again. Going to learn the ropes of being an administrator, but he has the heart and soul and obviously, I think the work ethic to succeed in this position. So we're thrilled to have him. And then Katie Harkleroad is our assistant principal, new assistant principal at Brooklyn High School. Katie comes to us also with intervention specialist experience from Cleveland Metropolitan and Vermilion City Schools. Currently, hopefully in the next few minutes she won't be, but currently she's the assistant principal at Vermilion High School. And so Katie brings a sense of enthusiasm and really focus on particularly what came out in her interview process, just her focus and her knowledge of that social emotional awareness for kids, the helping with behavior, and just that focus and that enthusiasm that I think her and Matt will be great partners for the high school. And if I look at all of the both administrative teams, I'd say Matt and Katie are very similar, and I would say Johnny and Marcello are very similar. So I think we're going to have the tale of two cities in a good way going forward. So very excited for our building leadership team. Moving forward, obviously we will miss and wish our administrators moving on to new districts best of luck, but we are thrilled, I am thrilled to welcome them to the Brooklyn City Schools. So, okay, very good, and that's my report.
Appreciate it. We're on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Scott.
Just a short one. As you know, I lost my 2 people, and the superintendent and I are going to do some interviews this week. But what we are going to attempt to do is hold off the interviews till the new person is hired. We think that person should have some involvement instead of me picking out the person, since I'm a has-been. Okay, that's it.
That's your report? All right, good. We're going to go on to comments from board members and board committee reports. We're going to start with Mr. Slattery.
Thank you. Facilities Committee, we have one upcoming in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have some updates on the different things going around the district. Rec board meeting was canceled, waiting on another schedule on that. And then the curriculum, we actually have this Thursday. So we will have it, at our next meeting, we'll have a report on that between myself and Ms. Barczyk. That is all I have.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go on to Mr. Singer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First I'd like to do is congratulate in advance all the graduates for 2023, which a little bit of personal bias would include my daughter, Eva. You know, they're now officially empty nesters, I guess.
You kicked her up already?
Are close to it.
Rick, mine hasn't moved out yet.
She's
so-
never home. She's never home anyway, so she's like halfway out the door.
Yeah.
But again, I'd like to congratulate all the graduates upcoming this year, and just remind them that they have a responsibility to Brooklyn schools, and their parents, their families, and to the community at large, that they need to shine out there. Take everything you learn, all your friends, all your relationships, take that with you in life, and grow and be a better person and make other people better people. So that's part of my report, and then we're gonna have a discussion on this now.
You know, do we have, let's do this.
We'd have to amend, I don't know if I have
I don't
board
think we
business
have a
on there.
discussion in there unless
Let
we,
me just include in my report.
Go ahead.
because I
Let's
wasn't
do that.
planning on voting.
We could put it under 8.2, actually, right?
yeah, we'll do other business at the end.
Can I do other business?
Sure, we'll throw that in there,
Give me real short.
because it's gonna be, yeah.
Okay, so that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you. Move on to Mrs. Barczyk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to also congratulate all of our graduates, and I would also like to say, please, 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 please have a safe and wonderful time at prom, but always this time of year, you always hear about the other school districts that, you know, unfortunately, something happens, so please, please, please have a great time, but also be responsible, and congratulations to all of our graduates. And I know that they're gonna accomplish great things. And remember, you always have a home off of 480 and the Tiedemann and Ridge Road exits. You're always a hurricane, and always come back and visit us. We love when you come back to visit us. If anyone would like to speak to me, I can always be reached at 216-406-4304. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. On to Ms. Kroll.
The Domestic Abuse Commission met on April 26th. They had a speaker from Starting Point about the need for foster parents. I found it very interesting. The campaign is called It Takes Heart campaign. If anyone would like more information, I can definitely get that for you. The next meeting is May 24th at 6 o'clock at the library. There's a guest speaker, Fallon Radigan, and Commander David Frater from the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. So I encourage parents to come out and hear. They're going to talk about sextortion, how to keep everybody safe on the internet, and it's relevant for parents and the teens. So we would encourage everyone to come out. And then the following meeting is June 7th. We're going to be participating in Letters Against Isolation for Elder Abuse Day, where we're going to write letters and cards, and then the Letters Against Isolation sends them out to seniors across the country, just to kind of have somebody that's, they're thinking about them and just not to feel lonely. I know I'm not on the Student Achievement Committee, but scrolling through social media, there was one student I kind of wanted to point out. I'm just going to call him Q. And in his little bio said that he wrote a novel in high school and read over 1,000 books in high school. And I'm a big reader. I don't think I've read 1,000 books, period. But I thought that was one that really stuck out. I thought it was pretty amazing. Secondly, and I've been thinking about this for a while just because I run into them, there's just two students that I wanted to recognize. I don't know their last names. I think Madison is a senior and Diego. And when I was working concession stands, they would always come up and they were always polite. They came up all the time and they would stand there and talk to us. Well, they both work at Michael's and I'm up there a lot.
Too much.
A lot.
I think the one's a junior. The one's a junior.
Yeah, and my friend and I are up there a lot, never at the same time, and they point that out to us. They're like, well, the other one was here, why don't you shop together? But they always go out of their way to walking down the aisle to say hello, to have a conversation, and that just is amazing to me that these kids like will stop to talk to. Don't have a kid in school, they don't know my kid, you know, I'm just another parent, and I wanted to kind of point that out, because they're like two of the most polite kids I know, and they're always striking up a conversation. What are you making this week? You know, so I just wanted to point that out, because it's every time I'm up there, they're really nice kids. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank Mr. Larson and the new staff just for coming out. I appreciate when staff comes to our meetings, especially when you're on the agenda. It shows, you know, your enthusiasm to be here, so I just wanted to thank you. I appreciate you being here. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. On to my report. Again, congratulations, class of 2023. You've made it so far. I think you still got another week or so, if that. So, congrats. One of my committees is technology. We had a meeting. We have it every quarter, so we haven't had one recently, or well, last month we had one. But one of my favorite subjects is Polaris, as we all know. And they have a Camp Discovery, which is, I believe it's, hold on a second. It's June 12th through the 15th. They have a morning session and an afternoon session. It's for, I believe, 6th graders, and it's a bunch of stuff. Adventure, architectural adventure, making cakes, cookies, confection, cardboard and stuff. So if you have any interest in signing up, May 30th is the deadline. Just go to polaris.edu. And it's a wonderful camp for kids. I want to point out a couple of the seniors win state skills in the USA Championship. Polaris EMT fire training. We had a student, Tyler Keppel, who won a award through for the Polaris EMT fire training. We also had Olivia Callahan. I don't know if I mentioned this last time. Polaris Business Professional Office Technology Program consists of Olivia Callahan, and she won a 5-student grab spot at National. She was one of those 5. And then there was another thing I shared with the board the other day. I sent them a text. I was at, this past Friday, I was at a, what do you want to call it, financial literacy seminar in the cafeteria. And it was something to behold. It was 75 8th graders. I believe it was about 75 8th graders, right around there. They all had, before they got there, they were 27 years old. They either had 1, 2, or 3 children. And they all had jobs. And they all had different,
Yeah, I was like, who are you talking about? What?
these were hypotheticals, I'm sorry.
Wow.
So what they had to do is, you know,
We left stuff out.
he was a
here.
plumber, he made 5,100. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
quite a transition.
I'm sorry. He had $5,100, and then there was a waitress who made $1,800 a month. So they had to learn how to spend childcare, clothing, communications, contributions, credit, entertainment, housing, health and wellness, insurance, student loans, transportation, and contributions. It was really enlightening for me being in the financial world as well too. Some of the kids did extremely well and well-focused, and I think, I talked to Dr. Claris, and I think it's a wonderful program, and I think it's exactly the path that we need in this district, is we need the basics to be told how you grow your family, how do you do this, and how do you do that. I think society's got away from that as well, too, so. It was very enlightening, and if it happens again, I believe it's gonna be an annual thing, or they're gonna try to make an annual thing. If anybody else can get involved, it was a good thing. And the seniors helped too.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough adults, but the seniors helped out well. It was very interesting, so.
Anybody end up living in their car that they bought?
Well, there were a couple kids that I went, and part of I was on contribution, so they came to me and I would look at their money and they go, I got $27 left. I says, here's what you're gonna do. I says, you have an older neighbor on this side, older neighbor on that side. You're gonna rake their leaves, you're gonna shovel their snow, and you're gonna cut their grass, because you don't have enough money to
And they
give
go to their house for dinner every night.
and hope they're rich. So anyway, it was enlightening. Some of the kids really were engaged in it. I'd say 80% were engaged, and the other 20% was like caught up, and then they got it. It was a good event. It was well worth. Anybody else who could participate, I would recommend it. It was worth it. It took about an hour and a half. So, anyway, that is my report. We're gonna move on to minutes of Board of Education, state financial, board approval of minutes and financial statements. We're gonna on to tonight's reader is Mr. Slattery.
Thank you. Resolve the minutes of the Brooklyn Board of Education meeting be adopted and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meeting is hereby reaffirmed and approved.
Can I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolve the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the financial statements and receipts and expenditures for the month of May,
April.
April,
April.
including all purchase orders paid and all then and now statements for the month of April as submitted.
Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion with the amendment
Thank you.
of the month of April.
You got it.
Second.
Twice. Second. Mr. Scott, could you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the May 2023 five-year forecast.
Can I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Can I have a second? Got a second. Questions, comments?
Good job.
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, could you call the roll?
It is my last one.
Hey, slow down.
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Mrs. Crawl,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached administrative contracts effective August 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2026 for the following administrator contingent upon successful completion of the background check and verification of credentials. Mr. Matt Larson, Principal, Brooklyn High School.
So, can I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. We're fighting over who gets.
Go ahead. I've already had one.
I
Go
got a
ahead.
second. All right, I got a second. Anybody else? Or no? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl,
Yes.
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes. Congratulations. Thank you.
Mr. Neal, can I give Mr. Larson, like, I won't put
Yeah,
our
no,
new
no.
assistants on the spot. Could I put Mr. Larson on the spot to? give me
Sure.
a-
He's been here
Give
before.
me you can bring a child if you want, if it's
Yeah,
easier, I get it.
Bring three.
Great.
Yeah, bring three.
So I just wanted to point out, no, I just want you guys to understand that when this opportunity was presented to me, the only worry that I had was, what the impact would have on my family and things like that, the time that we commit to the children that we work with on a regular basis. And once I had sat down and spoken to my wife, and she was like, just do it. You're never gonna have another opportunity quite like this one, and she's absolutely right. This has been a wonderful experience for the last 3 years in the capacity that I've served thus far. I've got the opportunity to work with Dr. Claris and work with Brian, who I'm sad to see leave, but at the same time,
You're
appreciate
happy,
the
it's
time.
okay, you can say it.
No, it's okay. Because I'm kicking there on. No, but he's
This
been a
is tape, just so
wonderful.
you know, Matt.
He's been a wonderful leader thus far. But some of the biggest selling points that I had as to why I decided to take this position was I do genuinely love working with our students, this specific group of students. I love the outlook that Brooklyn City Schools takes on education. The pragmatic piece is not all about college, it's about career preparation, which I value quite a bit. And I just think that it's really, really important that we have a good focus as to what education provides for our students. I love the staff that I work with on a regular basis. It's a good open door environment that we have. And I genuinely believe that Mrs. Harkroad here will be a wonderful addition and keep that kind of momentum that Brian and I have been able to create, keep that moving forward and keep Brooklyn going where it is that we would like to see it. So I just, again, thank you guys for all of the support you definitely provided for me. I trust that Katie will receive the same support, but thank you guys for everything thus far. Thank you.
Can I say, you're gonna miss these days. I look out there and I see, I had 3 kids, they were all very close in age. I would give anything for them to be sitting there in a board meeting, wanting to play and not wanting to listen to anything we're saying.
No.
Believe me, you will miss these days. I wish I had those days back again.
Well, they're staying here with you guys.
That's fine.
I've got older kids, it's cool when they're older.
All right.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached administrative contract effective August 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2026 for the following administrator contingent upon the successful completion of the background check and verification of credentials. Marcello DeAngelis, Principal, Brooklyn High School, or Brooklyn Schools, pre-K through 7 campus.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? We got a second here. Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Result, oh, I'm sorry.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, guys.
Congratulations. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Great to be here.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached administrative contract effective August 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2026 for the following administrator contingent upon successful completion of background check and verification of credentials. Katie Harkle
Yes.
All right, Assistant Principal, Brooklyn High School.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Questions, comments?
Comment.
Welcome, go ahead.
Comment. So you're going from being a sailor right into the hurricane. No pun intended.
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes. Welcome. Welcome.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of the following administrators. Brian Hare, Principal, Brooklyn High School, effective at the conclusion of the 2022-2023 school year. Matthew Larson, Assistant Principal, Brooklyn High School, effective at the conclusion of 2022-2023 school year, pending approval of the Brooklyn High School principal contract.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Second. Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Neal, if I could, I just want to,
Absolutely.
I want to thank everybody for being here, your families for being here. I'm looking forward to your work, unless you really are dying to stay. And I know our families are probably like, it might be time for dinner or a snack. You're more than welcome to stay, but
Yeah,
also
we don't
you're-
get offended by it.
You're more than welcome to, if you want, so, but
Trust
thank
me,
you.
we'd leave with you if we
Congratulations.
could.
Yes, we
Right.
Very cool shoes, by the way, buddy. I love those shoes.
Matt,
Everybody
you-
knows I love a Converse.
Matt, you're taking 5 with you,
Yes.
correct? So, thank you, guys.
All right, take care.
Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it.
See you. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Like your sweatshirt, very cute, very cute.
What do we got?
Got a shirt.
2 boys? She got 2 boys, told, geez, 5 boys. Between his 3 of them.
Sounds like a starting lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. Where we at?
And that's an actual color Converse.
5'5".
Yeah,
We're a 5'5", right?
The winter green ones, I don't have.
5'0".
Yeah.
5-4.
Did we voted on it?
We have
yet?
not voted
We have
on
not
it.
voted on it.
Yes, or
Yes, by
comments?
Mr. Yeah, any
I'd like
other
to make a
comments?
comment.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, we're happy Mr. Larson's here and he took the job, but I worked well with Mr. Hare, and I thought he did a nice job, and I wish him well in his next position.
Anybody else?
Mr. President, we did vote
Did we?
on 5-4.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh,
Good.
I s-
We're all
I
excited.
will take that back, though.
We're all,
You're
we're
taking
all
that.
disoriented. We'll be fine.
Somebody call out of order.
Yeah.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the scheduled hours for classified staff for 2023-2024 school year, as noted in this resolution.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Questions, comments?
Mr. Neal, just Board of Education, just, there may be a little fluctuation with some of our classified staff here. A couple of them have applied for other positions, so if they get another position, there may be a little bit of movement on some of those things, but I'll update you, but this is staffing as now, okay?
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll,
Mr.
please?
Slattery?
Yes.
Mr. Zinger?
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves unpaid leave for the following classified staff: Michelle Nill, May 2nd, 2023, 4 hours; J.C. Rowland, May 2nd, 2023, 1 hour, 45 minutes.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mr. Zinger?
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following certified personnel as a daily at-will building period substitute for the 2023-2024 school year, contingent upon satisfactory completion of all credentials and background. Corey Neal, at-will building substitute, $175 per day for the school year 2023-2024.
Can I have a motion,
So moved.
please?
Second.
Second. Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
I'm sorry, who's second?
I did.
Thank you. Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mr. Zinger?
Yes.
Ms. Kroll?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Abstain.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting continuing contract to the certified teachers named below for the completion of all documentation as required by the Ohio Revised Code, effective for the 2023-2024 school year. Jared Carl and Amanda Kineski.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Ms. Kroll?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting a limited contract for the 2023-2024 school year for the following certified teachers as noted. Compensation and/or steps to be determined by negotiated agreement and on file in Treasurer's Office.
As noted.
Yeah, but yeah.
It says it
as
before
noted.
that, but as noted.
Yeah, as noted.
All right. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Second. Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Zinger?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Ms. Kroll?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved that the City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting limited contract with the following certified personnel for the 2023-2024 school year, contingent upon successful completion of background checks and credentials. Carrie Musey, third grade, class 5, step 7. Abigail David, eighth grade, math algebra, class 2, step 3. And John Grigson, seventh grade, ELA, class 2, step 3.
Can I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, guys are quick. Questions, comments?
So, Mr. Neal, these are, so we had,
New hires?
new hires. I'll have them, I'll probably have them come to a meeting in August. So we'll have both our classified and certified staff come to a board meeting, certified meeting. But we are so excited about our new teachers. They come with a lot of experience, great credentials, and I will tell you, they went through a pretty difficult process led by Miss DeLees here and the building principals, and just ecstatic for them to start working with our kids and be part of our staff. So great group of hires here.
Good. Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mr. Zinger?
Yes.
Ms. Kroll?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the recommendations of employment from the Supervisor of Support Services, High School Principal, and the Director of Systems and Information Technology, the employment of the following student workers up to 6 hours per day as needed, 7:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., effective June 12, 2023 through August 11, 2023, at the rate of $10.10 per hour, as noted.
Can I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Can I have a second? Questions, comments?
So, Mr. Neal, this is the third year I think we're doing this, and our students help with moving of furniture, with landscaping, with technology needs, and a lot of the kids on the list have different schedules, so they're not all working every day. They may have family obligations, or they may be in athletics or other activities. So this group of students truly helps us in the summer from a standpoint of just getting some of the things, the smaller projects done, so that our custodial and cleaning staff can focus on the bigger projects that need to be done. So that's kind of where we're at with it.
Anybody else?
I have a question. Is there really a person by the name of Lady Catholic?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger?
Yes.
Ms. Kroll?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following resignations as noted.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Question, or a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Just want to thank them. One of our, Mr. Lagerman is going to, he'll still be coaching with us, but he's going back to school.
Okay.
And so very excited for him. And then Mr. Petiti has decided to take another counseling position in another school district. So wish him the best of luck also.
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck,
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby amends the resolution number 23-03-88 to reflect the following. Julie,
Quintiliano.
thank you,
You're welcome.
preschool classroom assistant resignation effective at the end of 2022-2023 school year, to an effective date on the end of May 23rd, 2023.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second? I'll second it. Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached agreement with Educational Services Center of Northeast Ohio, ESC, acting on behalf of the Ohio Substitute Teachers Services, OSTS, for substitute certified and classified services.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, it doesn't really change anything that happens to us from a day-to-day operation standpoint. Maintains our rate. We're gonna do a new classified rate for our classroom assistants of $120 instead of the $175. But again, that doesn't change our services.
Anybody else?
Question for Dr. Tisch.
I have Mrs. Paul here who's smiling, and if she's not smiling, then I know. It has been fundamentally a shift in our coverages, where we range from somewhere on a day-to-day basis between 80 to 90% coverage. With our building subs, that helps fill in some of those holes. We've also had some situations where we've had some students with some needs, and we've been able to take some of our building subs that we've hired and move them into those positions. So it's been a fundamental game changer for us in terms of just that anxiety, stress, and that extra pressure on our secretarial staff to find coverage, and then going to the certified staff so it's been a fundamental improvement in the way we do business, and I thank you for the change from last year.
Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into an agreement with Suburban Transportation for transportation of identified Brooklyn students for the 2023-2024 school year. Agreement on file in the treasurer's office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the graduation of the Brooklyn High School class of 2023 as submitted, providing all requirements for graduation have been met by the date of commencement.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? I have a second. Questions and comments? Congratulations. We'll see you in a week or so.
Are we doing this thing outside or inside?
So what we'll do is, so if it's great weather, we're outside at the stadium. If it's not so much great weather, same time, same day, we're in the auditorium. So,
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Ms. Crawl.
Yes.
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter an agreement with the Floor King to replace carpet in the auditorium balcony for the attached quote to be purchased out of the permanent improvement funds.
Can I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Have a second? Second. Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Zinger,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Ms. Crawl.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter an agreement with Holland Paving to repair / replace and seal concrete / asphalt and stripe parking areas for the attached quote to be purchased out of the permanent improvement funds.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Can I have a second? I'll second
Second.
it. Questions, comments?
just real quick comment, we will have, and not related to this agenda item, but just so everybody's aware, we're gonna have 2 more projects that we're hoping to approve. We have a roofing project this summer, which we'll do over the auditorium, and then we're gonna begin some of the replacement of fencing at the stadium, on the visiting side with that still has the barbed wire, so we're gonna try to replace all that, clean that up a little bit. So those will be the two projects two remaining projects you'll see in the next month or so.
Are you replacing the fencing or just,
No, we're ripping it out and starting over. Yeah, we're just in all new fencing, so from the bus garage all the way to the visiting ticket gate is gonna be one quote, and then from the bus garage a little bit past the ticket gate. Sandy's gonna do both just to see what the difference in price is. So we may actually extend past the visiting ticket booth a little bit, so we'll see. Just depends on what we have. Yeah.
Can you remind, where's the, which parking area are they redoing? Because I know we just did some, didn't we?
So you have to seal coat every couple of years. So what they'll do is they'll seal coat the campus parking lots.
Okay.
And then we have some sidewalks that need to be repaired, especially here in the front. So Holland's gonna cover all that. Next year, we'll seal coat the stadium again. So we'll do it every other year just to maintain it and keep it on what we need to do.
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Slattery?
yes,
Mr. Zinger?
yes.
Ms. Crowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into a shared service agreement with Northeast Ohio Network for Educational Technology, NeoNet, for the attachment for the purpose of EMIS services and support, effective May 22nd, 2023, and ending August 31st, 2023, for the amount of $10,800. Agreement on filing, treasurer's
Can I have a
office.
motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
This is just temporary.
Yes. Yeah, it gets us through the year. So we have, there's a reporting period, June, July, and then a little bit, and some in August. So this will get us through those reporting periods and also allow whoever the new treasurer hires to begin that training process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone's collecting the data.
Yeah, NeoNet's good, so Mr. Lees is leading that project. NeoNet's gonna actually be the one collecting the data, interpreting the data, uploading the data, but then Lisa, Supriya, and Paula are gonna be working with NeoNet for errors and verification of data.
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Zinger?
Yes,
Ms. Crowe?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the execution and delivery of a master electric energy sales agreement between the district and Powers for School endorsed electric supplier NG Resources LLC as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mr. Zinger?
yes.
Ms. Crowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the renewal of property fleet liability insurance policies through Highland Administrative Services for the period of 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024 in the amount of $57,619, not to exceed $10,000 deductible, equals $5,565 annual premium.
Can I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll?
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mr. Zinger?
Yes,
Ms. Crowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education, in accordance with ORC 3313.26, gratefully accepts the following donation. A donation of $611 from Dr. Greg Trubilski, I gotta get his name right if he's giving donations,
Right.
to assist with the students who are behind in their payment for lunches.
Can I have a motion, please?
so moved.
Can I have a second? Second. Questions, comments?
Very cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Anybody else? Mr. Scott, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Zinger?
Yes,
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Ms. Crowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes. Do we have any correspondence-related action information? I don't think we do, John. Mr. Scott, we don't.
Nope.
Do we have any other business, Mr. Singer?
yeah. Very quickly, all of you have a copy of the resolution that was passed by, last week by North Royalton School Board. Other school boards are taking this on as well. The requirement is to have this in by May 31st, but to OSBA, Ohio School Board Association. Anything that's delivered afterwards won't be on their legislative platform. The purpose of me bringing this up is to have Brooklyn pass a similar type of resolution, pretty much word for word if possible, at our next meeting in May, May 23rd, and then pass that along to OSBA as part of our resolution. Suggestion, this is not binding by law at all, by either us or by OSBA. This is just a suggestion that they add this to a platform of items that are missing from OSBA's platform. And it's kind of a little shocking that it's missing from their platform. Understand, the legislative platform goes to legislators in Ohio. They want to know, what is it that school boards like us want to do? What's our biggest concerns? Well, you know, we kind of addressed this being part of the Ohio School Board Conservative Coalition. We polled various members of our group and other school board members, superintendents, principals, parents, came up with this simple platform. Supports academics first approach to education. Academics first is the key word there. And it's actually a technical term in education, academics first, because some school districts have gotten away from academics. And obviously, we're all here to make sure our kids learn. As far as any kind of social mores or skills that the kids retain or learn, most of that probably should be done at home. But we want to make sure that the focus here in Brooklyn, which it hasn't been, and everywhere else should be as far as the legislative platform, is to concentrate on academics. Second one, supporting the rights of parents to be decision makers for the child's well-being and to inspect any instructional material used as a part of educational curriculum for the student. I think that's, I want to call it a God-given right. As parents, we're responsible for the health and education of our children. We should also have the right to know what our kids are being taught. And also to look at the curriculum and the material that's being used. It's kind of funny, there's a federal law that governs the digital media on kind of textbooks and stuff like that are used. There's nothing really about the books, and that's why you've been reading probably through the social media, through the media, and other sources of how some of these books that are very, I call them sexual imposition, sexualization of our children at a young age. Again, this is not attacking any of the transgender groups or the LGBT community. I think they have a right to be heard and to approach their children in what's best for them. But I think that you have to draw the line where it comes to kids. Elementary kids should not be learning about sexuality. I don't care what the World Health Organization says. By the way, the WHO says that kids should be they should be taught sex and sexuality right from the get-go, you know, while they're very young. I obviously don't believe in that. I don't know any of us who do, but we have found books in school districts like Delaware and Olentangy, Hilliard, and it's sad to say, St. Charles down the street on Ridge Road in Parma, where they're basically exposing young children to books that are very graphic in nature. I mean, if we had a parent come to this meeting and showed us some of the pictures of some of the books, we'd probably have Officer Dan throw them out. I mean, that's how graphic they are, very, very explicit in nature. If you want some examples, again, this goes to the libraries as well, but the bottom line is that it supports the rights of the parents to be decision makers. So we should have a book like Lawn Boy in our library, and I hope that it's not in our public library down the street. Genderqueer, identical book about two twins where the father has a sexual relationship, very graphic in a book. about one of the twins and the other twin is jealous. This has no place in our schools. Supports in protecting children's data collection, personal privacy. I think there should be an opt-out. Our parents should know if there's a survey taken. If a survey's offered by the school district, it should be on the list of what, and the parents should be informed. The children also have rights to personal privacy. They don't need to know how they're identified or who's having sex in the house. Supporting and protecting children from exposure to pornographic media, books, and electronic in our schools. Again, this goes back to children being exposed. And again, sometimes, I want to say most times, they're being exposed to some of this sexual graphic stuff in nature, also the racist stuff, which I don't buy into. It's all under the noses sometimes of our principals and the superintendents. You know, we found that in several school districts where the superintendents had no idea this was going on under the noses. But you have to understand too, some of these people who are in our schools are being taught to hide this information, not only from the parents, but also from the administrators. Supports drug-free school facilities, and we do not support the recreational use of marijuana for minors. Okay, what adults do with their own time and recreation is their business, but drugs have no business in our schools. So this is basically something I want you to take a look at, think about. I would ask that we support this resolution at our next meeting.
Mr. Singer, I just want to clarify too, that I'm not aware that any of this is happening, so this is not related to Brooklyn City
No,
Schools?
not at all.
Okay, all right,
Not at all.
okay.
Can I ask what is,
Trust me, I checked.
Well, but I would also trust that if the board had a concern, they would call me personally so that I could look into it and things like that, because you're right, some things happen that superintendents aren't aware of, but I also want to make sure that our kids are protected, that our parents have the rights they deserve, but you know, I feel very good on the way we operate and do business in the district. And so I just wanted to clarify for the record, this is not relative to the things going on in Brooklyn City Schools.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, and it's very reassuring, because as a member of the OSBCC, it's very disheartening when I see neighboring schools and school districts around the state of Ohio. And we've researched 45 school districts around Ohio, because we have 45 school board members who depend on whistleblowers for the information. That's how they find out.
And I will say, I would ask that if I need to know something, that anybody come to me for a conversation, but we have a great staff, we have great families, we have great administrators, and I believe they're doing the right thing for our kids. So, but again, I just wanted to clarify for the record, this is just more of a statement from the board related to general principles as opposed to specifically directed at the board, or at the school district.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to your point, OSBA needs to know that there are school districts like ours who don't support some of this agenda that's being pushed by the media and by some very really out of place groups that represent a very small minority in our state. So, thank you. Thank you for listening.
no, I
Mrs.
just don't.
You
No,
good?
that's it, yeah. Mhm.
All right. Anybody else? We're gonna go on to,
Mr. Nuss, I guess, quick question
Go.
for clarification. So the board meeting on the 23rd is a specific board meeting for the treasurer's search. I just want to make sure that I have direction from the board in terms of, do you want Mr. Scott and I to modify the agenda to make this a talking point on the 23rd? Because we would have to amend the special notice. We'd have to add this as a board business item, because this has to be talked out in public. And that's fine, I just want to make sure that I know what the board.
right.
I just want to make sure.
and there's a date and time stamp. Did you want to?
It has to be delivered to them by May 31st.
So if we're not, I guess, so all we're doing is just making a statement to OSBA, this is all this is, so we're already, I don't disagree with any of this, we're already doing it. So this is just us voting to tell the OSBA how we feel?
We're asking them to put it on their legislative platform.
But that's something is, if we're already doing this, we should be worried about Brooklyn, not what other 45 other school districts are doing.
Well,
I mean, that's just my, I
Yeah.
guess I just don't understand why we're taking time to do a resolution on something that we're already following up, or like he said, we're already following all this, we're not doing any of this, I guess I just don't understand.
well, and Kelly, I respect that, a position, and that's a position actually taken by some other school board members, different school board districts. But OSBA is also on an agenda to filter out this kind of board policy that we employ. And they're filtering it out when they present this to the Ohio legislators and say, this is what the concerns are for the school board districts. And understand, we're not members, the school board is a member. So that's why we have to come, I can say, but I personally feel as a school board member, but what we're looking for is school board districts, because that's the only ear that OSBA has. They deal with school board districts, not school board individual members. And again, to address that too is we need to kind of shine the light to OSBA about what Brooklyn does and what Brooklyn doesn't do. And other neighboring districts are all looking at us, they're looking at how we teach our kids, how we treat our kids. And I think this is a good lesson for a lot of school districts, including North Royalton, which, passed this resolution, I think saying the same thing. Well, why would we care what other school districts do? Well, we should. If you have crime problem in Cleveland, if it kind of bleeds over into Brooklyn, if you're right next to Brooklyn, so you can't build a fence or a wall and ignore it. It's coming, and more of it's coming to both Brooklyn and other school districts.
The one thing I'd like to add what Rick just said, and I was where you're at right now with the whole thought of this, and then I found out that a member of the local city council had reported Brooklyn schools for teaching some of these things, and we were on a watch list.
And that's fine, but I just don't see how us going to OSBA is gonna fix that issue. It's fine, go ahead and continue with your meeting.
Mr. Slattery, can I ask a little bit more detail about that?
I thought you knew about it, that's why.
I do not.
Oh, okay. There was, we were advised, actually Rick and I were at an event, and somebody came up to us and said, oh, you guys, you're from Brooklyn, because I had a Brooklyn shirt on. Oh, you're from Brooklyn, boy, you guys are on you're on a watch list.
Why don't we speak offline on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I appreciate that. Why don't you and I speak offline on that? That's
Which
fine.
was, I mean, it's offensive.
Yeah, you and I can speak offline with it, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, Brooklyn was reported on the Ohio Protect Our Children Network. And Brooklyn was one of the hit list school districts. And that's why I approached him, and Rob approached him, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So we kind of dove in on
Okay,
that.
that's fine. That makes sense. I think I recall that now. So
We got Brooklyn afterwards.
Okay.
That's what's important.
So, the bottom line, if it creates a resolution, we'd have to change our meeting.
I would, so if we're.
In order to hit the time frame.
Yeah, if there's a deadline, correct. If there's a deadline, we have to modify the agenda and the meeting notice for next Tuesday, which is fine. I just want to know what the board wants to do.
Or we can amend the agenda tonight and vote on it tonight if you want, if you guys.
But we don't
agree.
truly don't have a resolution. We'd have to create a resolution.
I mean, I can
So
move,
we-
I can move,
Here's-
I can move the agenda.
I know
after
how
the
I
year.
feel about it. I'm okay to vote on it on the 23rd.
I'm fine with that.
That's what I really would expect.
So
I
why
want you
don't-
guys to chew on this.
Why don't I do this? Why don't I, if everybody's okay, not to interrupt with what's going on with the treasurer's search, we'll allow that timeline to happen, because I don't wanna, and then we can have that after the agenda item when the board's done with that conversation.
It's one vote.
Sure, okay.
That's the way I look at it.
That's fine.
Either yes or no, or.
That's fine.
no vote,
Okay.
Whatever. So, all right.
Thank you.
We're gonna have the announcement, next meeting of the Board of Education is gonna be special board meeting Tuesday, May 23rd, go ahead.
I have something to say with this, but it would be an executive session, because it would be with personnel. that I think is pertaining to this. I mean, I can't say what it is to tell you guys what, you
Can we
know.
go into executive session
Yeah,
now?
like is what I'm asking. Can we go in executive session now to discuss
We'd
what
have
we
to
were just
amend the-
discussing with
all right.
any other business?
Motion to amend the meeting, motion to amend the executive,
To go into
to go into
executive
executive session for personnel,
Yeah, do you want
hire,
to
fire,
read
demote,
that?
promote.
Yes.
I don't,
Why
well,
don't you-
that's,
Why don't you read this?
that's not,
But
this,
that isn't
was,
the right one. That
wasn't-
one's for, that one is for.
I'll wing it, cause I'm gonna go.
I'll add the executive session for personnel.
For
For
personnel,
personnel, confidentiality.
I'll add it,
and we're not gonna do any business after
No
this.
business.
Correct.
No,
We'll gamble out. Can I have a motion, please?
so moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, or, Mr. Scott, can you call the roll? Just get us
He
5
wasn't prepared with this.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, Mr. Scott. Didn't know
Who
we were gonna
moved, who seconded?
It
I'm
was
sorry.
Bonnie and Kelly.
Okay, forget that. Mrs. Barcheck?
talk- Yes.
Ms. Kroll?
Yes.
Mr. Zinger?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? I'm
Yes.
sorry about that.
Oh, that's-
All right, we're gonna go into an executive session.